Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Dirk Harron.
Back to do another review of Doomsday Clock. As you guys can see, the issues look like this, the different covers. Apparently we both got the same cover this time, so we only need to show you one. But this, I will say right up front, this is my favorite issue of the book so far. It deals with one thing, it doesn't jump around, and it happens to deal with the thing I've found the most interesting of the entire book so far. So yeah, my overall thoughts on it were, I love this issue. I'm super excited that we got a full issue on the subject. But yeah, that's my opinion. Dirk, yours?
Yeah, this is the halfway point for the series, and I think it's been the best one.
Yeah.
For me as well.
You think so? Really? Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't sure it would be because I know you like a lot of the Watchmen stuff.
Well, this is Watchmen stuff, though.
Well, that's
These
true.
These are new characters from the Watchmen universe that we're talking about.
That is true. That is true.
So,
in case you couldn't tell by the cover, this entire issue is all about the mime and marionette, and that's not the mime there, but that's marionette.
No, that's Night Owl.
That's Night Owl, yeah.
Night
and
Owl.
then, but marionette, and you can see the other cover over here, right there. Mime's over there to her right. So, but yes, this cover is, or this issue is not only it not only picks up where 5 left off, which is when the Joker appeared, because the mime and marionette have been killing his goons all over Gotham City looking for him. So there was this confrontation, and we were like, oh, what's going to happen? And this entire issue deals with what happens next. You know,
well, and it also tells the origin story of the mime and marionette.
Right. It sticks with these characters, though.
Right.
So, so yeah, do you want to go ahead and go through what this issue was about story-wise?
Well, the last one left off with the Joker catching Batman.
That's right.
And so the mime and marionette show up, and they're ready to take on the Joker, and they end up kind of getting outnumbered a little bit. I think that they were just kind of also just kind of feeling things out. This is finally
right about here.
This is finally they're seeing the Joker. They've been hearing about this guy for so long, and this is the dude that they can't wear makeup because of this guy, because they look too much like his goons, and so they end up, you know, surrendering while they're with the Joker. The Joker is on his way to meet up with, like, pretty much all of the villains of the DC universe, and to talk about the whole meta-human problem that's going on right now, whether they should join up with Black Adam. Yeah, it's really cool how the Riddler has, like, gathered them all up, and he, you know, this is his plan and everything, and then I love that part where, like, the Joker finally shows up and he tells everybody, like, I've got Batman, and they're like, how many times have you said you've gotten Batman? Yeah, you know, like, who's behind the mask this time?
Who is it this time? Yep.
Yeah, and then Riddler's like, wait a second, this is my time to shine. And I just love it how I felt like almost like Jeff Johns kind of like shows that here's all these, like, great villains that are part of the DC universe, but whenever the Joker comes along, like, everybody's like, ooh, Joker.
Everyone takes notice. Well, and not only that, but you see, you know, a brief glimpse into the life of a Gotham baddie henchman.
Right.
When there's 3 of Mr. Freeze's goons,
right,
and they just, like, are happened across by the Joker and everyone as they're walking, and they're like, oh God, don't let him look over here, don't let him look over here, and he sees them and he walks up, and they're like, and he's like just talking to them or whatever, being goofy Joker, and they're like, you know what? Because they're like, oh, Mr. Freeze will kill us. They're like, we haven't even heard from Mr. Freeze. We don't know where he is. You know, maybe we should just go over there. And so they end up jumping ship to the Joker.
Right.
And when they do, we got to see one of my favorite, like, appearances or characters that they've introduced, which was Shaky. Yeah. And Shaky is the tattoo artist that sort of, you know, does all of Joker's villains. He does some sort of thing on all the Joker's.
Yeah, he puts on the makeup. He actually tattoos the makeup on. Oh, he tattoos the makeup
on. Okay. But it's so funny that he's shaky and he's like all jittery and stuff like that. It's hilarious. But yeah, so the three henchmen join the Joker, and then when they reach the summit where all the villains are, they see, oh no, Mr. Freeze is here. I was like,
yeah, and they're like, oh man, he's gonna see the tattoos. And everything.
Do you think he'll notice?
Yeah,
it's so funny. So there was actually a bit of humor in this one. I mean, a lot of humor considering Joker too.
Yeah.
But even the side stuff, I thought this was a particularly well written issue, especially when it goes into the histories.
Yeah, the origin story of the mime and marionette. Like when it just shows them as kids and like them meeting for the first time, and that the marionette's father made marionettes, and that's what he sold. But like, he was from over in Europe, and he brought his family over, and like there's these mob guys that are like taunting him and telling him that like we'll end up outing you, and then you'll have to be deported, so we know your secrets, so you give us money. And so they're bleeding him dry, and then we come to find out that the mime, his parents open up a shop like right next door, and even back then, like, he didn't talk, he was just a mute,
right?
And so she kind of pairs up with him because like she's kind of a weird kid too. She loves the puppets that her father makes, and man, there's some
sad.
brutal. Yeah, it's really sad because the father ends up realizing that like the only way that he can get out of like these mobsters' hands is if he like ends up killing himself, and then so that they won't torture him, they won't torture his family anymore. And he writes this like really sad letter to his daughter saying, I'm sorry to have to do this, but this will be better for you in the long run. And before that, we got to see like this vicious fight between Little Marionette and Little Mime against some bullies on the streets. And then when she sees her father dead, she ends up like taking out these mobsters. And it's a pretty brutal scene.
It really is. Well, and it shows that they're both willing to be brutal because the mime kid shows up in order to help, and that's sort of where the love begins,
right,
as it were.
And then they just become like these orphans, like running the streets and having to survive.
There was another thing that was a cool little addition that while you were talking, I remembered it. I thought it had to do something with the summit here, but they introduced a new character into the Bat universe, or at least one that I haven't heard mentioned yet, to do with the Court of Owls. It's just this throwaway line where there's this guy who says, my court is not abandoning Gotham, and they're like, the Judge of Owls speaks, and it's like, oh, the Court of Owls has a judge. Like,
I didn't know. I don't know
that was specifically done before. If not, it was pretty dope.
I don't remember the Judge of Owls.
I don't either, and I've read all the stuff.
Yeah, so you would know.
I would think so, but I do forget stuff.
Maybe that's something that's coming up in the near future.
I hope that's what that was. I'm thinking that, because Detective Comics is heading towards its issue 1000.
Oh, okay.
And they've been doing so much Joker stuff. I imagine they might go with a different villain to sort of be the final. Every one of these books on their big anniversaries has some sort of Actually, that'll probably be another collaboration.
So did you read all the like We Are Robin stuff? All that, because I know that he dealt with the Court of Owls. In that as well. Okay, so if you're up to date, I don't
remember the judge. I don't remember the judge. That's why I was like, ooh, there's a judge in the Court of Owls. That's cool.
And but while the summit's kind of going on, they one character that they've been kind of talking about in the back issues, which was Typhoon, which is this metahuman that like they kind of outed. He's supposed to be like this villain. He ends up showing up to the summit, and like bad guys are calling him out, saying like, "Hey, there's these interviews with who's the ice chick or whatever?
Killer Frost.
Killer Frost. She outed Typhoon, saying that like he's actually like this secret agent and everything. And also there was another character. A girl character, I can't remember her name, Moonbow.
Right.
And so she's with Typhoon as well, and so they're calling these two characters out. They're like, you know, like, no, we're not, we're bad guys, we're with you, blah blah blah. And then like Penguin comes up and like and is like, we should just kill him right now. And then Typhoon starts like using his powers against the villains and stuff, and then you think that he's like he's gonna take them all out, and then bam, his head explodes.
Yeah.
And then you find out the comedian
he's been watching the whole time from on high.
And he's there to kill the marionette and mime. And then and at that moment, with all that chaos kind of going on, that's when the marionette and mime, you know, take action and start fighting their way out of the whole situation.
And the Joker is just like, oh, and he's like, oh, this is the greatest meeting ever. Like,
he's like, I thought this was gonna be boring. And so
Johns knows. I mean, he writes a good Joker. I dig Johns' Joker when we get to see it. It's not that often.
Yeah, I don't know if I've read anything with him.
Well, he did Infinite Crisis.
Okay.
And, you know, the Joker's popped up a number of times in Johns' storylines, but it's. Since he's never really written Batman specifically, to my recollection, if he did, I have it. But
Batman Earth 1.
Earth 1, right. Yeah. So there is a version in there.
Right.
Actually, I don't know if they've done the Joker yet.
They haven't done the Joker yet with him.
No.
Because like Penguin was the first one, then there was like Killer Croc, and was like the second one, I believe. And there was some other characters.
I need to take a look, but I don't think the Joker's been done yet in Earth 1, which is odd. But yeah, so he when we do get to see him, he's usually playing with him for short periods of time.
Okay.
So he's able to do really cool stuff because he doesn't have to sustain it over the course of an entire series and stuff like that. So.
But one thing that ends up happening is that like the marionette and the mime, you know, they escape, they run away. At some point, like, I think that the mime like wants to stay and like kind of like finish off the Joker, but like the marionette's kind of scared for the situation because they're realizing that like the Joker is a tough dude. Like this guy could probably outmatch them.
Right.
And so she like tells him we gotta run, and so we end up finding them like tucked away in some like abandoned hotel or something like that. The comedian shows up and like
he's about to plug them,
about to take him out, and then the Joker comes up behind him and like
hand buzzes him,
and then he's just like, you know what, you guys make me laugh. I'm gonna keep you guys around. So it seems like the marionette and mime have now joined the Joker officially.
I mean, yeah, it seems like that would be they should be the Joker's right and left hand men. And women,
there was one great line too. He's like, did Harley send you to kill me?
Yeah, exactly. This was a good issue. I mean, it was great. I loved it. I thought the back and forth. It was told like a lot of good dramatic TV shows are done nowadays, where it's, you know, you get a little bit of story and then you get the backstory of the main characters of that episode, and they jump back and forth, but when done correctly, it makes things hit home, and the pacing is done well and all that. So this is one that was just firing on all cylinders. I think the pacing has struggled a little bit in some of these issues, but I think this one nailed it. But it could have just been because I was interested the whole way, whereas the other ones, there's always a section or something that I don't care about because I don't know those characters that well.
Right, but now we definitely know all about the marionette and mime, and I think that the pacing was a little bit slow, but I think that they kind of needed all of that story to be told. You know, like now that we're focused on like Green Lantern's going to be a part of this somehow. They've kind of been skipping around Superman. Like Superman's kind of been like on the sidelines for the most part.
Right.
Batman's been pretty much in the forefront.
He's been in the mix.
Yeah, and then with all the
now
Rorschach
stuff has disappeared. Well, from this issue anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
But like you said, that they're just focused on these two characters, and we get to find out everything about them.
Well, I liked it. I'm excited to finish out the rest of the series.
Yeah.
It's going to take another year to do it, right? so we'll be back here next July finishing Doomsday Clock. Jesus, Mary. All right. Well, let us know in the comments down below. Have you guys started it yet? I mean, you've got time. There's plenty of issues, I'm sure, around. They did not underprint on this one at all. But it's worth checking out if it sounds interesting to you. Again, as a mainly DC fan, it's still worth my time, especially for this issue. Honestly, if this just became Doomsday Clock, the origin of the mime and marionette, then I'd be fine with that, because these characters are making it worth it every issue for me.
Okay.
Pretty much. So, yeah. Final thoughts from you, Dirk?
I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening with all the other characters. Like I said, I'm more Watchmen. You're more DC, and so I still want to find out what's going on with the Green Lantern. Who's going to get the ring? You know,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
So,
that's true.
That would be so weird if Rorschach gets the ring. Like
awesome.
What would he imagine? Like with the ring,
That's
you know?
true. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That's a good question. And how would it work? I imagine it would. What it would probably be. And if he becomes one, I hope we see this. I imagine all of his constructs would start out as ink blots and then take form into something else.
Yeah.
That would be really dope.
Yeah.
Or if it was just living ink blots, like if all the creatures he did were like portrayed as ink blots,
like they were like these blobs that like
coalesced or like, you know, that take the shape, like, but they all stay in the ink blot format, you know, so they're like almost two-dimensional sort of things that can protect and do shit like that. That'd be really dope.
Yeah, I don't know.
Great. See. Now I'm gonna be disappointed if we don't get that, Dirk.
Hey, you didn't know if we were gonna get Green Lantern, and then now we got Green Lantern, and they've mentioned Wonder Woman in it as well.
Okay.
So they said that the Amazonians have like captured her, and they're keeping her away from the whole situation that's happening with the metahumans.
Oh, that's interesting.
So maybe there'll be a whole issue where, like, you know, Wonder Woman has to get out of the capture of the Amazonians or something like that. I don't know. We have no idea.
Yeah.
They've really kept this under wrap.
Well, and they have to be careful, because if it's going to take another year to finish, there's a lot that can happen in a year in the span of these characters.
Right, definitely.
I mean, I just read the Flash 51, which was the epilogue of Flash War, which was huge, and it talked a lot about the bleed through of the old 52 and the new 52. It actually ended with them taking Wally, who is this only person that knows of both realities. He remembers all of it. Superman and Wonder Woman show up at the end, and they're like, come, you know, we're ready to take you now. And he's like, okay, and it says to be continued in this event in September. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't even know there was going to be, but it's some kind of big event that's, I can't even remember what it was called. I could grab the issue, but, you know, it's just, so what I'm saying is, who knows what's going to change in that event that might screw up what they're doing here, if Wonder Woman is off doing something else, or what happens to Batman in the next year. Again, a year from now is going to be Detective Comics 1000, because they're coming out twice a month, and they're only 12 issues away.
Jeff Johns did say that this is separate from what else is going on in the DC universe. Okay. So this is a standalone. But it is interesting, like, that, you know, with this Judge of Owls character, maybe we'll see him pop up somewhere else. There's also, there is an idea that maybe it will affect somehow, because we are, like, talking about, like, traveling to different Earths, and that's how the Watchmen came over to the DC universe.
And they don't have a place to go back to, so they've got to do something with them. And
I did notice that the designs for, you know, Batman and Superman, they have their underpants on the outside, so they are different looking. So we know
they're both like that again now.
Oh, they are. Yeah. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, Superman at 1000, at Action 1000, they brought him back to underpants Superman.
Underpants.
Because so far, Action 1000 came out, and then Bendis did the 6-issue Man of Steel, which was Bendis leaping into the Superman world, and then they've launched Superman #1, written by Bendis, and then Action Comics 1001 just came out this week, written by Bendis. So the whole Superman thing is being done by Bendis now. Man of Steel's done; that was a limited. So now he's doing both Superman titles. And both of them, he's got the underwear on the outside.
Okay.
So I don't know if that was intended to delineate, but it doesn't anymore.
Right. Well, I know that he was wearing his underpants before all
before
this
they officially
Bendis
came
stuff.
back. Yeah.
So But that's interesting. I don't know. We'll see how it all affects everything, and if it is truly a standalone, or if you know, yeah, the DC universe will affect it somehow. So we don't know.
We're along for the ride, so let us know in the comments down below. Are you guys along for the ride too, or are you just kind of keeping up through our reviews? That'd be kind of interesting if there were 1 or 2 people doing that. Let us know in the comments down below. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
Derk Harron.
And remember, stay scared.